Hello everyone and welcome to another game from round 9 of the 2018 Sinquefield Cup. As we already said, we are going to show Levon Aronian versus Alexander Grischuk and the beautiful sacrifice on F7. But before we check that out, I would just like to say that the first thing you will see in the description below is a link to St. Louis's Chess Club last video, their live the video from the live stream yesterday, and I really would invite you to switch all of your dislikes into likes, as it's really not cool for a chess video to be swimming in so many dislikes. I have already stated this in every of my social media, but I would also like to invite you to do it here. So hopefully you will follow this advice. That being said, let's check out this game. Now, like we said, Aronian versus Grischuk. Aronian has the white pieces, and he also would very much enjoy winning this game to catch up to Fabi. D4 was played by Aronian, knight to f6, knight to f3, and d6. G3 and knight beta d7. Bishop to g2 and e5 now. C4. C6, knight to c3, and here Aronian is basically inviting Grischuk to push e4. And if you enjoy positions like these, you will definitely push e4. And I mean, why not? Grabbing more space is something everyone strives to do. Capturing on d4 would simply help white develop pieces, centralize his queen. So not something you want to do here. E4 was played, and now comes knight to h4. As you will most likely notice this in pretty much every one of Levon Aronian's games. He really loves the h4 square. He always either pushes h4 or, as you can see in this game, puts his nice on this nice h4 square, and it's very enjoyable how he takes advantage of this. Grischuk pushes d5. We have castles by Aronian and bishop to b4. C captures on d5, C captures on d5, and now f3. White has to challenge black center here, and of course white would very much enjoy if black would capture here. But bishop captures on c3 is played first. We have b captures on c3, and now we have castles. So what do you do here? Now, it's very interesting how Aronian makes use of his undeveloped bishop on a3 and combines it with his funny knight on h4. And this is something Aronian will often say in his interviews. One of the reasons why I wanted to use another quote, but it was simply too big. But it's something Aronian says, that he enjoys playing chess 960 very much, and that he enjoys Backhouse very much, because playing such versions of chess where you don't simply strive to create familiar chess positions, but rather you want to create something, can come very handy in playing normal chess games. So here he plays bishop to a3 with tempo, attacking Grischuk's rook on e8. We have rook to e8, and now comes knight to f5. So already his bishop on c1 and knight on h4 became a knight on f5 that is ready to jump over to d6. We have knight to b6, opening up an attack to this knight, and here comes knight to d6. And now a very bold move by Grischuk. Grischuk's rook is under attack here on e8, but he goes knight to c4. He invites Aronian to capture the exchange here. Rook captures on e8, and after queen captures, bishop to c1, as your bishop is under attack here, now comes e3. The knight is very firmly placed on c4. There is no b pawn or d pawn. There is a d pawn, but not one that can challenge the knight on c4. And it's a beautiful position for this knight, a beautiful square, and the knight really firmly protects the pawn on e3. The pawn on e3 really stifles white's development, and although the engine likes this position for white, no human would play this in their right mind. Maybe Carlsen would, but very hard to imagine this, as you would spend so much time trying to figure out what to do here, and it's simply not worth it, especially for Aronian, who appreciates development above all and activity. So okay, knight c4, knight captures on c4, d captures on c4, and now f captures on e4. Here, instead of going for material, Aronian has now a semi-open f file, and well, if you've seen the game by now, you know that he will use it. Knight captures on e4, and now queen to c2 with a double attack against the e4 knight. We have queen to d5, and it seems like a very nice move. Here, if you continue piling up on the knight that is pinned here, for example, rook f4, this will be met with bishop to f5. After white doubles up here, bishop to g6 will be played, still keeping an eye on the knight, also adding more protection to the f7 pawn. But as black would be pretty much okay here, Aronian has a different plan. As this is only move 17, Grischuk was already extremely low on time. He still has to make more than 20 moves and to reach time control, and he was very, very low on the clock, so Aronian goes for a different approach. He plays rook captures on f7. And now, what do you play here? Well, you could play queen captures on f7, but if queen captures, then bishop captures on e4. Okay, you rob the exchange, but your pieces are undeveloped. Bishop captures on h7 is coming. If you push the pawn, then bishop comes to g6, you will win back the exchange and keep a better position. And if you simply try to give the h7 pawn away and develop your pieces, then after captures and king h8, bishop to e4, white will definitely have compensation for the exchange. But in time trouble, although this might have been the best course of action for Grischuk, he instead goes for king captures on f4 on f7, which is a stronger reply, but getting your king out in the open and allowing Levon Aronian an attack while you are in severe time pressure, not perhaps the greatest idea. But okay, rook to f1 check, and now you see the problem. If you play king to g8, you get bishop captures on e4, and now you don't have the luxury of recapturing. If queen captures, and now of course you cannot capture the queen because the bishop from a3 is guarding f8. Rook to f8, this will be checkmate. So after rook to f1 check, bishop to f5, strongest move, and then now comes g4, simply attacking the pinned piece. G6, and now queen to c1. Here Aronian is threatening queen to h6 to try and infiltrate Grischuk's position, and with a move like rook to e6, hard move to find in time trouble, definitely. You have to see that you can actually allow queen to h6. And now after king to g8 and the g captures on f5, now with the g captures on f5, this comes with an attack against Aronian's queen. After the queen moves, rook comes to f6, the f pawn is protected twice, the other rook can come into the game. All would be well here for black, but such variations are extremely hard to find under severe time pressure. Here Grischuk immediately prevented queen to h6 with king to g7, but now comes pawn captures on f5, g captures on f5, and now bishop captures on e4. F captures on e4, and now queen to f4, with ideas of queen to f6 check, and so on and so on. First h6 was played. Here queen to c7 by Aronian with check, king to h8, and now comes bishop to d6, preparing bishop to e5 with check. And here everything is still fine, black is very much okay here. Rook to g8 with check was played, king to f2, and now comes rook to g6. And here, before doing anything, first bishop to e5 check, getting the king to g8, king to g8, and now you don't really want to start anything too soon, because even if you tried something like queen e7, then black can always exchange queens with queen to f7 check. So first Aronian goes king to e3, getting his king to safety, and only now can he start attacking. Here, rook to e8 would allow black to continue this game, but it's not all that clear why this would allow him to play this game. In the game, rook to d8 was played, and this is actually the move that loses you the game. Why it loses you the game, feel free to pause the video and try to find the move that Aronian played to win this game. I'll give it a couple of seconds for you to decide whether you want to do it or not. For those of you who were able to do it, congratulations, you are an excellent player. Levon Aronian would be proud, and you might even be a chess 960 or a Backhouse player. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's queen to e7 actually. Queen to e7, the only move that wins here, puts black in sort of a Zugzwang. Because any move black makes now will lose him the game. There really isn't a good move to make. This rook here, you can't move it anywhere from the g file. If you attack the queen, you get queen to g7. This will be checkmate. You can't move this rook. This rook has to stay on the back rank, because if you move it, you get rook to f8 checkmate. And of course, you cannot move the queen, something like queen to e6, because you have to protect the rook on d8 with the queen. Here, queen captures, lose a rook, and you're getting checkmated. So there's really no good move to play here for black, and it's really, hard to imagine this. B5 was played by Grischuk, and now comes H4. H4 also a move you had to find after you found Queen E7, because it now shows you that H5 is coming, and there is very little you can do here. If black pushes H5 himself, then Rook to F5, all still will be winning for white. And it's very poetic that Aronian gets to play this beautiful combination with a rook sacrifice on F7, and then in the end again play H4, his signature move, to bring this game to an end. A5 was played. The black's position didn't change anything, all that much. There's really no good move black can make. H5 was played, and now the rook is challenged. As you know, you cannot leave the G file. Queen G7 would be checkmate. So rook to G5 was played. Here, rook to F6 was played by Aronian, and now comes rook captures on E5. Here, rook to G6 was played, and it was in this position that Alexander Grischuk resigned the game. But he was really, when he saw this, he was in complete disbelief. He didn't see this rook to G6. I mean, he saw the check, but he was very surprised when Aronian played it, because only move is king to H8, and then queen to G7 will be checkmate. So, you are more than welcome to check out the video from the St. Louis live feed. It will be the first thing you will see in the description below. And if you are one of those people who have disliked that video, I more than welcome you to change it to a like, because like I said, a chess video does not deserve, that amount of dislikes. Nothing deserves that amount of dislikes. So yeah, a beautiful victory by Levon Aronian, and this victory brought, and after Carlsen of course won his game against Nakamura, won him first place in the Sinquefield Cup 2018. Shared first place rather, because here Magnus Carlsen, Levon Aronian, and Fabiano Caruana shared first place. There were no playoffs and drawing of the lots. They just agreed that all three of them will be winners, which is a first time something like this has happened in the Sinquefield Cup. So yeah, that's the game, a beautiful game by Levon Aronian. I do hope you enjoyed it and that you enjoyed the coverage of the Sinquefield Cup so far. Like I said, feel free to check out the link in the description below and do hit that like button. I would like to thank Dame Pletvarec, Bernard Floor, Daniel Larson, Christopher Latvis, and Michael Baker for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot, I really appreciate it. A lot more of you have contributed to my channel, but as I only have room for 5 people per video, I will have to thank all of you in my next video by your name, but I do thank you in this video as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I do hope you enjoyed it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, hopefully with some more interesting videos, and we are continuing our Bobby Fischer series. See you soon.